Dan,
Hey,
thank you.
absolutely.
Welcome to PCA 2023. And last year, you guys had a really cool experiment with the 10-year Tatuaje 10, but say the name of the region that this San Andreas is growing in.
So this is Tuxtla is the growing region where San Andreas Valley is in Mexico.
Perfect.
So all that San
Tuxtla.
Andreas wrapper
Yeah.
is grown. Yeah, Tuxtla region.
And I love that homage back to, putting that on the side.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the region.
Yeah, so we did a run of Tuxtla last year, and
let's talk about the lessons you learned from that. So last year it was first come, first serve. Come to the booth, and you can get it. Your guys' booth was like a Disney theme park ride.
yes, and
You had no ropes, so it's complete total chaos.
Yeah, and the problem.
Did anyone punch each other?
No. No, not until later.
Not till later.
When,
you guys.
When
internally.
When some of our our best retailers came in saying, I had a meeting at 9 and now at 10 o'clock you're telling us that it's all sold out.
And you sold out in less than 2 hours,
oh,
right?
Yeah. And we had to adjust a lot of numbers to make it happen. So this year we just told each rep region, you have X number of these two are one of the limited series this year, 2,500 boxes of each.
Sure.
The PCA cigar is the same thing because that happened with the PCA cigar last year too.
Really?
That was one of the limiteds that
so
was
first
happening
come,
with.
first serve, and then it was like, hey, some of my best retailers didn't get it.
Yeah, last year it was actually a surrogate limited and an atelier limited that we only had so many of, right?
Let's talk about that from the retail perspective, because you, as a retailer, you get your customers to really be focused on smoking Tatuaje cigars.
Yeah.
And then they see your guys' post of something new coming out, and then that retailer can't get it, right?
Yeah.
It makes everybody not win.
And that's where
the consumer, the retailer,
exactly.
You guys.
And that's where the allocation part comes in, because the reps were like, okay, we can all be here the first day, but it's still going to be a S show, right?
Right.
And so we're like, okay, we'll allocate it like we do with a lot of limiteds. We'll give them allocations. That way they can look at their accounts and say, okay, I can get you X number, I can get you X number, and some of them use that to build their numbers with their retailers as well. So you're rewarding the retailers and the customers of those retailers because they're doing numbers because you're buying from them, and then you have access to a thing because you're frequenting your local retailer.
It doesn't make sense to just have a free-for-all and then not get the product to where it needs to go.
And last year we thought it won't be a free-for-all. Everything was like limit 5, right?
Right.
But it still didn't matter. They were all gone so fast.
Oh yeah, no.
And there were people that literally just couldn't get up to the table before I yelled, "Sorry, such and such is sold out." And they're like, "How?"
Right.
Because we weren't letting anybody just come in and say, "Oh, I'll take 100 of those."
Right.
It was still limited, but
what a great learning lesson.
Yeah, no.
So it just shows you that if you put your product in the right places, it's going to pay back dividends.
Yeah.
To the consumer, to the retailer, and to you.
And the reps and us and everybody.
And then you don't, like you said, you don't have to put out any fires.
Yeah.
Right? And it's great to have other people join in, but at the end of the day, what are we trying to accomplish? We've worked so hard as retailers, as manufacturers, to get the product out to the consumer.
And it's rewards all the way around, right?
Right.
We get to dream up something, they get to sell it, and the consumer gets to buy it. But
brilliant.
You could funnel that all through one thing, but what do you have then? You don't have this. I mean, this is all about relationships, right? So all those relationships go both ways, and it's not like last year was a mistake. It just kind of got to be funny.
You learn.
Yeah.
You learn.
Absolutely.
And now there's a method to the madness.
Yeah. And the show's great for that,
Which is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for filling me in on that, because that's super helpful to the retailers out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know they're getting taken care of by you. And when we do make mistakes, we learn from them and we change. We pivot, right?
Yeah.
We're human.
Everybody ended up being happy in the long run. It just took a lot of number crunching to go, we can't get you that many, because there's still people that didn't make it in before it's quote unquote sold out. Maybe someday we would literally do that thing where we just set up the stanchion ropes and and it won't be like the PCA cigar or the other allocated things. We'll be like, we just made X number of boxes, and you can only buy X amount. But this one thing, maybe just for fun, this one thing will literally be get to the show the first day, come stand in the in the line and see if you can get your 5 boxes or whatever, and it'll be maybe it'll just be a more fun project rather than, hey, this is what we're doing with our limiteds this year. That
love it. So you're strategically using your limiteds to support your retailers.
That's the bottom line.
They can support their consumers with the stuff that they see as hot items on social media, on pretty much everywhere.
Because how's it work? They're buying from retailers. Retailers are buying from us. Yeah. And the more they're buying from them, the more they're buying from us. And you spread the love no matter what, but there's still stepping stones of support, right?
Yeah, you got to have it.
It's a tough topic. We're making, a good lesson and light of it, but it's a tough topic to talk about, like that the rewards of the thing. It makes absolute common sense, but it's also divisive, like, I know, but so everybody wants that, and it's like, because look, all of us here are probably we have a core product, right? I mean, that is the bread and butter of everyone's company, and then all of the fun limited projects, that's what they are. They're limited projects, and everybody wants that, but the divisive part is, like, if that's all you want, then you're not actually supporting.
Here's my state on that.
Other retailers.
Okay, you talked about like the Regios. You talked about Coho 2012. It's a same blend with 3 different wrappers.
It's a learning.
I could use that as a retailer to educate my consumers
100%.
Of like, okay, this is what a Mexican San Andreas does. This is what a Habano does. The blend is exactly the same. Now, if you start that path, you're going to eventually be in that preferred list to get the limited edition stuff.
Well, true that too. And your consumers are getting educated
That's what I mean.
Like, it's all I like strong cigars, I like this kind of cigar, I like that kind of cigar. But that younger crowd that is really into everything, bourbons, wines, foods. They
already have the palate.
The developing palate, if you will, is built on knowledge, and it doesn't have to be a total deep dive, but like just knowing what your wrapper is and saving the band, right? Like, I love this, but I don't know anything about it. And then you go back to your retailer and you're like, you sold me this. Tell me about the cigar, because something in here is so different than what I've had in the past. So now I need to know why, because I'll look for other things that are like that. And now you start building, right? And that's the two-way street, the whole way from consumer to us and back. And then we see like San Andreas all came about because what the Garcias were doing with tobacco that was bought from that region. Turn family sells it to us, but they process it, they ferment it out. And we notice, okay, we really like all that tobacco coming from them, but everybody does it differently. They all process it differently. And what we were doing was so special that we were like, we actually want to use it on special projects as well. We have sticks that use that wrapper as well. But what we're trying to present it on sticks that we don't produce these 2 sizes in that wrapper. These are Habano brown labels, right? So they've never seen that wrapper before. And now there's 2,500 boxes that are about to go out, and that will be it of that. And then maybe down the road, people will be like, do you remember when you did last year, we did the 7th, you mentioned the 7th stick that has all 3 wrappers. San Andreas might be a 4th version of that for the shelves as regular production because everybody liked it so much. So it's also an experiment to get it out there. It's new, everybody wants it, they try it, and they're like, man, I wish you'd just make that. And maybe, you never know. Sometimes it's about something special. This is just using that wrapper, but sometimes it's a wrapper that we only get so much of, or there's
limited quantity.
Yeah, or there's something in the filler that we only get a little bit of. Like years ago, we did PCA stick from the Atelier side that we used Pella de Oro in the filler, and Pepin gave us a very small portion of the Pella de Oro that he grew, to use. So we could only do X number of boxes, and then we could never put that in regular production. And so that was the opposite example, right? Something special that we got our hands on.
And then you can give that to the
and we
retailers.
used it. And we did the same thing with that. We did that here. That was only for the PCA people.
I love that.
So
you're really just setting it up for success right from the beginning, letting the retailers grab those boxes, those cigars that they know their customer base that they built up to be Tatuaje fans, Surrogate fans, whatever it is, La Atelier fans. They can get it.
The last point I'll make about when we do these kind of things here, the whole going back to Atelier when we did Extension de la Racine, which is that we did that 3 years in a row, and it was a special product. This was started kind of like releasing some limiteds here.
Yeah,
is you want people to support the show, so it's okay. You're a PCA member, all right. So like for instance, this year, if you're a PCA member and you couldn't make it to the show, we do have a PCA limited that's in small numbers that the reps have allocated to them, and they can get that. Something like this, or what we did last year, was no, you actually have to physically be here, right?
Right.
And if you're not, there's other stuff for you, but like we want something for the attendees of the show. And Extension de la Racine was the perfect example. When we did that, that's what started it. And then some other companies did that, and then when we didn't do that anymore, it ran into there's always been something in the booth that if you're not at the show, sorry, right?
Right.
And then the PCA cigar, proceeds of that portion of the proceeds actually go back to the PCA. So that needs to be for any member of the PCA, right?
That's
not
awesome.
just here, but we want, if you're here, for you also to have access to something that no one else does.
Right.
Otherwise, attendance, like, I mean, you want to come to the show and you want to mingle and all that, but another reason to be at the show, right?
Face-to-face interactions is a big difference.
Always.
Huge difference.
Yeah. But then another little, another
you guys
little
are helping
care,
that. Yeah,
right?
you're helping that.
It's like, nope, got to physically be here to order those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
And I appreciate you thinking about the retailers.
Always.
The ones that are making the brand very, very effective and very, very much desired by their consumers.
Yep.
And now you guys are saying, we thank you for doing that. Here's some limited edition stuff.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, man.
Thank
Good
you,
talking
man.
to you.
PCA 2023.